In a coastal town outside Ganji in 2017, a calm, gentle-looking cat appears wandering on top of a small kiosk, meowing softly. One student points to another student and describes him as strange because he walks alone and isolated. A student asks why Jijun is called this, and his classmate answers that he's a transfer student who never speaks. The first student explains that it's not just his silence, but that he's completely absorbed in this silence, which puzzles his classmate who asks what that means. Meanwhile, a speeding car rushes down one of the town's streets, and suddenly Jijun appears right in front of it, panicking the driver who screams loudly, trying to control the car and stop it with difficulty. After he stops, the driver curses and yells angrily at the student, "Do you think you have an extra soul?" But the student stands calmly without any reaction, while the man asks him if he wishes to die. One of the students watching the situation notices something strange. The gentle cat that appeared at the beginning passes by Jijun's feet and meows softly. At that moment, the two students realize that Jijun acted this way to save the cat that was crossing the road, but the driver gets angrier and accuses him of trying to scam him. Another student laughs, commenting that even in a situation like this, he doesn't say a single word, adding that he seems to have a serious condition that keeps him silent all the time. Suddenly, a girl rushes toward the accident scene and asks the driver to wait a moment. She approaches Jijun and asks worriedly, "Ji, are you okay?" The driver responds angrily, explaining that the student suddenly jumped in front of his car to create trouble. The girl seems a bit confused and says the student had a reason for his action, but she doesn't explain it. Then she bows deeply and apologizes to the driver, and begs him to forgive him just this once. Her gentle facial expressions as she repeats her request calm the driver's anger a little. The two students watching from afar comment on the girl's intervention, with one describing her as the Queen of Class 5, and the other saying that Jijun troubles those around him. Then he picks up the small street cat and asks it jokingly if it agrees with him. But the cat suddenly lets out an angry and loud scream unexpectedly and attacks the student, scratching his face. The student screams in pain and shock, asking why. At that moment, a girl with a cold look passes by calmly. The injured student feels embarrassed at seeing her, and while lying on the ground, he greets the girl named Aram with a smile. But Aram looks at him with a cold, emotionless stare and continues on her way without turning, leaving him confused and frustrated. The student comments on Aram's mysterious and cold personality, while the other injured student finds her attractive despite that. The other responds angrily, saying he feels she's deliberately ignoring them. The student explains that Aram is very shy and introverted, which is why she rarely speaks. His classmate is surprised that she also doesn't speak and compares her to the silent student Jijun, but the other strongly rejects the comparison. The students continue walking to school discussing what happened. In the classroom, Jijun sits silently amidst the noise of students and their conversations. He recalls the words and comments said about him in painful moments, and a look of sadness and deep emotion appears on his face. Two girls approach him, and one takes a photo of him with her phone, expressing her admiration. Then she comments that since he came to school a month ago, he's been practicing the same meditation routine daily. She shows him the photo and tells him he can delete it if he doesn't like it, and asks him not to hesitate because she helped him before. The girl thanks him with a sweet smile for letting her keep the photo. Suddenly, the classroom door opens forcefully, and a large student known as Syoto enters, a notorious bully. Syoto throws a sharp look toward Jijun and his classmates. Then he turns to the side to hear the two girls talking about the photo, where one asks the other to send it to her via the K-Talk app. Syoto approaches Jijun with a mocking smile, commenting on the atmosphere, then mocks him for being surrounded only by girls, saying he looks like a girl. Syoto grabs Jijun's hand forcefully and mocks its softness, saying it's like a girl's hand. He squeezes his hand harder, mocks its softness again, and says he might fall in love with him because of it. Jijun remains silent and sad, without any reaction. But the girl intervenes and asks Syoto to stop because it's not funny at all. Syoto continues bullying Jijun mockingly, touching his head and saying the reason for bothering him is his cute appearance. Then Syoto turns to the student Yina and asks her why she didn't come to the club room as he asked. Yina responds calmly and coldly that she already told him she was tired and wanted to sleep early, and asks if he can understand this reason. Syoto responds with annoyance, saying she should have come because her boyfriend called her and waited a long time. He insists she shouldn't skip again, while Yina dismisses him, saying she'll see about it later. Seo walks away, and one of the students quickly prepares a chair for him. Seo sits relaxed and puts his feet on the table. Classes at school continue in a normal atmosphere. During gym class, students play a ball game with great enthusiasm. Jijeon sits tired after the game, watching silently from afar. Yina approaches him complaining about the heat and asks if he also feels hot. Then she sits next to him and tries to cool the air with her small fan, asking if that helps. Yina smiles at Jijeon and asks about his feelings, but he maintains his usual silence. Yina laughs lightly at his continued silence, commenting that he really never talks. Meanwhile, on the field, Seoto plays in the game, and someone yells that the ball is his. One of the students asks him to pass the ball, saying he'll take care of it, while Seoto notices what's happening between Jijeon and Yina. The other student kicks the ball very hard trying to pass it, but it suddenly hits Seoto's face directly. Seoto suffers from the strong impact in front of everyone, shocking his classmates. The student who kicked the ball apologizes profusely, afraid of Seoto's reaction. Seoto gets angry, saying his head was badly hurt, but suddenly changes his behavior and pretends he's not bothered, smiling and saying they should continue playing and that he wasn't paying attention. Despite his smile, an angry and scary look appears in his eyes as he stares at the scene behind him. Elsewhere, Jijeon appears lying on a bench on the school rooftop, with a drink and snack beside him. Suddenly, the rooftop door opens violently. The student who hit the ball in Seoto's face runs terrified and apologizes again with his hair shaved down the middle, begging for forgiveness. But Seoto appears carrying an electric razor, clearly threatening the student. Seoto laughs mockingly, saying he just wants to cut his hair nicely, while the student trembles with fear. The student screams again, apologizing and saying it wasn't intentional. Seoto and his friends approach him angrily, and Seoto threatens him, saying he needs to taste blood before returning to his senses. The student surrenders fearfully and bows on the ground under Seoto's threat. At that moment, one of Seoto's followers notices Jijeon sitting nearby and starts walking toward him, but Jijeon suddenly grabs his arm, surprising the student, who screams, drawing everyone's attention. Seoto is surprised to see Jijeon and asks if he's eating lunch alone in this place. Seoto returns to the frightened student, carrying the razor, ready to carry out his threat. He says mockingly that he's about to create a masterpiece and asks everyone to watch him. Seoto turns on the razor and starts shaving the poor student's head cruelly, while the students around him laugh mockingly and ridicule the student, describing the scene as a wonderful piece of art. Seoto shows off the ridiculous haircut he made for the student and displays it proudly in front of Jijeon. The haircut looks pitiful and funny, causing the student severe embarrassment and shame. Seoto and his friends mock Jijeon, who remains calm and shows no reaction. Then, Seoto turns to Jijeon and tells him mockingly that he doesn't seem impressed with his art, adding that a good model is necessary for wonderful artwork and that appearance matters too. Seoto smiles coldly and tells Jijeon he's perfect as a model. He gets closer to Jijeon's face holding the electric razor and asks if he can turn him into a masterpiece too. But Seoto hesitates for a moment when he sees no reaction from Jijeon and asks if he really doesn't mind. Since Ji remains silent without answering, Seoto assumes he agrees. He starts moving the razor toward Ji's head, mocking and threatening him, but Jijeon stays steady, showing no fear even as the razor approaches his head. Seoto smiles a scary smile and warns Jijeon to watch himself. He raises the razor more and warns him again not to cross the line, but Seoto suddenly backs off, saying he can't do it because the girls would be very angry if he messed with Jijeon. Seoto leaves with his friends laughing mockingly. The student with the half-shaved head remains sitting, feeling deeply insulted and frustrated by what happened. Then the student takes a photo of himself with his phone and decides to keep the photo as evidence, saying angrily that if they were going to shave his head, they should have at least finished the job instead of leaving him in this ridiculous state. The embarrassed student falls silent, staring sadly at the photo he took as evidence. Then he approaches Jijeon and asks him curiously why he didn't laugh at him like the others, saying he wouldn't have minded even if he did. Jijeon looks at him silently without responding. The student says he expected Jijeon to be different and that he's truly a person unlike others. Then the student leaves, thanking Jijeon, commenting that if he were in his place, he probably would have laughed too. After that, heavy rain begins to fall on the school. Students start leaving, complaining about the sudden rain, and some try to find umbrellas for shelter. Some students run in the streets in the rain, while others use their umbrellas. Meanwhile, The student Aram stands calmly in the rain holding her umbrella, and she seems lost in thought. An expression of sadness appears on Aram's face as she stands quietly in the rain. At the same time, Ji walks alone in the rain without an umbrella. Suddenly, some students call him from afar. They approach and tell Ji that Seoto wants to see him and ask him to go with them. Ji goes with them to find Seoto waiting for him in a dark place in the rain, surrounded by a group of students. Seoto mocks Jijon, saying he still looks handsome even in the rain. Yina suddenly appears and yells angrily at Soto, scolding him for bringing Jijon. Soto responds calmly, pretending he just wanted to check something. Then he throws a phone on the wet ground in front of Jijon. The phone shows a picture of Jijon as the wallpaper on Yina's phone, and Seoto demands to know why his picture is there. Jijon stands silently without responding. Seoto now says angrily that he doesn't understand why Yina chose Jijon's picture. Yina screams in her defense, saying she only used it because it looked beautiful, and not for any other reason. Yina quickly tells Jijun to leave, saying this matter doesn't concern him, and they'll see each other at school tomorrow. She smiles at Jijun and urges him to go quickly. Meanwhile, Seoto speaks to Yina with sarcasm and contempt, saying it's obvious all the girls prefer Jijun and are attracted to him. Yina explodes in anger, screaming at him to stop and not cross the line. Suddenly, Seoto slaps Yina hard across the face. The mark of the slap appears on Yina's shocked face, and blood starts dripping from her mouth. Jijun watches everything silently, without showing any clear reaction. But Jijun seems shocked seeing the blood that splattered on his face from Yina's slap. Signs of intense anger show in his eyes as he watches what's happening in silence. Seoto stands over Yina and screams angrily, accusing her of cheating on him with his friend. Then Seoto approaches Ji and smiles cunningly, saying he suspects Yina has a crush on him, and asks if Jijin actually knows that. He continues provoking him, mocking Yina, and asking Jijin if he's interested in her too. She's pretty, but quick-tempered. Then he tells Jijin with heavy sarcasm that if he's honest with him, he'll even let him date her. He suddenly screams in his face angrily, demanding an answer. At that moment, Yina starts speaking weakly, scolding Soto for calling himself her boyfriend despite his bad behavior and staying out with other girls. Seoto screams angrily, defending himself, saying he already apologized for that. Yina tells him firmly that he no longer deserves to be her boyfriend, and it's over between them. Seoto loses control and hits her violently again. At that moment, Ji's anger deepens, and it seems he's starting to lose control of himself. Yina lies on the ground in pain from the hit, and struggles to get up with great difficulty. She speaks to Soto bitterly, telling him this is really the end, and calls herself crazy for ever dating him. Seoto grabs her forcefully, screaming angrily that she doesn't have the right to end things without his permission. Then he decides to settle it with violence, and tries to hit her again. At that moment, Jijin suddenly intervenes and grabs Seoto's arm before he can hit Yina again. Seoto is shocked by Ji's intervention and asks angrily what he's doing. He glares hatefully at Jigen, screaming his name with obvious anger. Seoto rages, saying, "Now everything's clear. I was right and you really are interested in her." He rushes toward Jijin with all his strength, reminding him that he already warned him not to cross the line. Then he threw a powerful punch directly at Jigen's face. Seoto mocks Jijin's strength, saying he's nothing compared to him. Suddenly, vague memories flash in Jijian's mind, and a strange voice screams in his head to regain consciousness. His eyes start glowing abnormally, while intense anger appears on his face. Jijin plants his feet firmly on the ground, ready to respond. He gets up and seems ready to face Seoto again. Seoto's anger increases, and he decides to use his full strength to finish Jijin off. He delivers a very powerful strike to Jijian's body, but Jijian endures the blow in an abnormal way, his glowing eyes shining as he faces the attack directly. Amazed by Jigen's strange endurance ability, Seoto asks in disbelief, "What's with this bastard?" Seoto tries to attack Jijin again, screaming angrily and demanding he die, but Ji calmly dodges the blow and delivers a tremendously powerful strike to Seoto. Seoto takes a powerful punch directly to his face from Jijin. He falls to the ground from the force of the blow, completely losing his balance. His body lies motionless on the ground under the rain. Seoto's friends are shocked and scream, asking what just happened. Yina, still sitting on the ground and affected, looks at Jijin and calls his name in disbelief. Seoto slowly gets up, coughing and cursing angrily from the punch's impact, but Jijin doesn't give him time to recover, and hits him with a devastating blow to the chest. Seoto's friends' anger increases, and they decide to intervene, saying Jijin is asking for trouble, but Jijin moves quickly and powerfully, hitting one of them in the face with brutal force. Another friend tries to attack Ji, but Jigen dodges the blow easily. Then he responds with a vicious strike that drops the attacker to the ground. One of the friends, filled with anger and desperation, grabs a metal rod ready to attack Ji. He swings it violently toward Ji, but Ji succeeds in blocking the attack and delivers a crushing kick to his opponent, who falls immediately. The friend falls to the ground in pain, unable to move. Everyone is stunned by Jijin's crushing power and begins asking fearfully, who is he really? Even Syoto himself repeats the question in shock and confusion. Jijin stands tall under the rain, looking at them powerfully with his head raised in great confidence. Then he rushes toward Syoto and slams him to the ground violently. Syoto's face receives a series of painful and violent punches brutally. Jijin continues beating him mercilessly in a savage and terrifying way. The scene shows Jijin's relentless attack as he completely dominates the situation. Suddenly, Yina rushes toward Jijin and hugs him from behind, screaming and begging him to stop. Jijin finally stops throwing punches, panting and struggling to catch his breath. At that moment, lightning illuminates the rainy sky, adding to the drama and tension of the moment. Ji stands exhausted and drained in the rain, signs of fatigue and exhaustion clearly visible on his face. Yina was looking at Ji with worry and sadness, whispering his name quietly, but Ji didn't look back. He continued walking silently, gripping his bag tightly on his shoulder. He walked alone under the rain, moving away from the scene without showing any reaction or interest in those behind him. Behind him, one of the students sat shocked and disbelieving, saying fearfully, he was crazy. As for Yina, she was still sitting on the ground, in a state of shock and questioning, trying to comprehend how Ji managed to do what he did. Some students began to realize that something different hides behind Jijin's silence, as if a deep darkness always surrounds him. Before all this, while Jigen was walking, a voice called him from afar. A girl named Aram had heard someone calling Ji and telling him that Syoto wants to see him and asking him to follow them. While one of them was walking with him, he wondered if Ji had done something that angered Syoto this much. Another advised that Jijin should apologize as soon as he sees Syoto if he wants to survive his anger, because things look very serious. Aram was still standing silently under the rain, watching the situation with a calm expression. After moments of thinking and silence, she suddenly moved with clear determination. She walked quickly under the rain, heading to an unknown place. Aram arrived somewhere and hid, watching the scene cautiously from afar. Suddenly, a violent scene appeared before her eyes that shocked her deeply. Jijin was attacking someone with extreme violence, anger, and cruelty dominating his face. He continued his fierce attack that clearly caused serious injuries. Aram was terrified by what she saw and by the screams that were begging Ji to stop. She stepped back in fear, trying not to draw attention to herself. After Ji finished his violent attack, he slowly moved away under the rain. He stopped to catch his breath with great difficulty. It was clear he was tired and exhausted. But at that moment, Ji noticed Aram's presence. She was hiding, and now watching him silently and worriedly. They exchanged a long, deep look without Aram uttering a single word. Aram remained still under the rain, looking at him with an expression full of sadness and doubt. Then she walked toward him quietly and raised her umbrella above his head to protect him from the rain, still silent. Jijin remained silent under her umbrella. But after a short while, Jijin moved away again, leaving Aram standing in the rain, the umbrella still raised in her hand as she watched him leave. Aram kept watching him as he moved away in the rain until he disappeared from sight. The next day, the weather at school was sunny and beautiful after the rain stopped. Inside the classroom, students wondered why Syoto and his friends weren't attending, while some assumed they were skipping as usual. One student noticed that Ji wasn't present either, and asked where he could be. One of the girls said the classroom seems empty without Jijin, and wondered if something had happened. Yina was staring with worry and distraction, obviously concerned, whispering Ji's name to herself. Elsewhere, some students were talking about their shock at what happened to Syoto, saying that just days ago, they were joking and playing with him, and now he's in the hospital. Another student expressed his disbelief, saying it's illogical for someone like Syoto to end up in the hospital because of just one person. Someone asked about Syoto's condition. A student explained that Syoto's face was smashed, and he'll have to stay in the hospital for a long time, adding that Syoto refuses to let anyone visit him because he's too embarrassed. Another student asked how many people got beaten, and the answer was 4. This came from a student named Kang Do-il, from Daejeon Technical High School, who was sitting confidently, saying that Syoto isn't the type to fall easily, and wondering who the person was that managed to beat him. A nervous student explained that the one who beat Syoto is named Jigyun, a recently transferred student who barely talks and is still mysterious, and no one knows much about him. Kang Do-il sneered angrily, mocking the idea that 4 people got beaten by one unknown person. One of Kang Do-il's followers grabbed the student angrily, asking why he didn't get beaten too, and asking if he had hidden like a rat. The student defended himself, saying he felt that 5 against 1 would be unfair, so he didn't join the fight. But this excuse didn't satisfy them, and the follower hit him again with extreme anger. Kang Do-il returned to his question, what school did Ji transfer from? The student answered that he doesn't know, and no one knows, because Jijin never talks as if he's mute. The follower got angry again and hit the student, describing him as useless. Then he asked what Ji looks like, so they could recognize him at first glance. The student thought a bit and said, Jigen is incredibly handsome, like a model, and seems to be from a wealthy family. He added that although he doesn't want to admit it, girls are clearly attracted to him, and described Ji as having a strange charisma. The follower exploded in anger, accusing the student of having a crush on Ji, and asking him what kind of relationship he has with him. Kang Do-il smiled while thinking about Jijin, eager to know more about this mysterious silent student. He described him as having a striking appearance and rare strength, like an extremely rare specimen. With great enthusiasm, Kang Do-il screamed that he really wants Ji. The next day, Jijin appeared walking toward school under a large banner promoting a violence-free school. He entered quietly, blending in with the other students, resuming his daily life as if nothing had happened. The student was watching Jijin cautiously, hiding behind the lockers. He looked at him nervously, monitoring his movements from afar. He remembered how Kang Do-il ordered him to investigate Jijin's background. He hesitated fearfully and asked why, but Kang Do-il threatened him in a terrifying way, so the terrified student agreed and said he would do it. Of course, while watching Jijin, the student wondered in frustration why he was doing this, when suddenly a message arrived, saying, "Congratulations." Jigen calmly turned toward his phone upon hearing the vibration sound. He opened his locker and found an old phone placed inside. The phone continued vibrating inside the locker. Jigen stared at the phone with a cold expression as he listened to the vibration. He picked it up and took it out of the locker. He opened the message and read, "Congratulations, you've received a free phone." Other messages followed stating that although the phone is old, he can still use the X-Talk app, and they're ready to listen to any of his concerns. Another message appeared mentioning a quick reply option. Jejun looked around carefully to make sure no one was watching him. At that moment, the student hiding nearby felt a wave of fear and wondered if Jejun had noticed him, but Jejun quickly turned around and completely ignored the student. A girl passed by and noticed Jejun looking at his new phone. Jejun started using the phone, completely focused on it. The girl watched him with clear worry and tension. Meanwhile, the hiding student was confused by Jejun's behavior and wondered what was happening. Suddenly, Ji placed the phone on top of the locker and quietly walked away. The student immediately rushed toward the phone, surprised by what happened. He picked up the phone, wondering why Jejun abandoned it, and noticed it was very old and still turned on. But suddenly, a girl crashed into him from behind with great force. The phone slipped from his hand and hit the lockers. The girl quickly snatched the phone and ran away while the student groaned in pain. The student yelled angrily, trying to stop her, but she kept running. He stood there, stunned and angry at the chaos that just happened, wondering what the hell was going on. He ended up frustrated and extremely angry, wondering why things had gotten so bad lately. The scene continues, with two girls carrying some school supplies, and one of them talking excitedly about her aunt's puppy, describing it as cute, saying she wanted to adopt it, but her father wouldn't allow it. Her friend, Yuri, noticed that Yina was distracted and not really listening, so she scolded her. Yina nervously tried to explain herself, but her friend accused her of thinking about Ji again, saying she was worried because he didn't come today either. Suddenly, Yuri gasped in surprise and screamed excitedly when she saw Jejun coming down the hallway. Yena assumed she was messing with her again, but Yina was genuinely surprised, her eyes widening in shock when she saw Jejun appear in the corridor. Jejun walked calmly and confidently through the hallway, his eyes steady and indifferent as he looked ahead. Yena stared at him with interest, deeply affected by seeing him. Her eyes filled with tears, and clear signs of emotional impact showed on her. Suddenly, she gave everything she was carrying to her friend Yuri, and asked her to wait a moment. Yena quickly rushed toward Ji, leaving her friend behind while Yuri commented on how obviously obsessed Yena was with him. Through the hallway windows, Yena appears running toward Ji. She reaches him and hugs him tightly in front of everyone without hesitation. Shock strikes everyone around them, including Yuri, who is holding the school supplies, and they stare at her in complete shock. Yena tells Jejun with deep sincerity that she was extremely worried about him and asks if he's okay, adding that she'll never forget that he saved her. Meanwhile, Ji remains silent while Yena thanks him. From a distance, the student who was spying on Jejun watches the scene with obvious jealousy, saying that girls definitely like Jejun a lot. The student decides to write down everything he knows about Jejun on his phone, trying to gather information about him. He writes in his notes that Jejun is late to school, girls are attracted to him, and he still doesn't talk, wondering if this information is enough. After the school day ends, Jejun leaves the building while some students talk about their plans to go to an internet cafe. As Jejun walks down the street, a suspicious-looking man on a motorcycle notices him. He sarcastically comments to his friend that Jejun really stands out with this appearance. The second man looks toward him nervously, as if preparing for something. Then the two start speeding up toward Ji. Jejun walks calmly and steadily, showing no signs of concern as they approach. The two men surround him, circling around him at high speed. Finally, Jejun stands still and calm in the middle of the road, while the two men circle around him with clear threatening intent. The events continue as the two men approach Jejun, and one of them asked if this student was really Jejun. Jejun remained silent without answering, while the man continued trying to confirm his identity. Jejun looked at him calmly without any reaction. The man with glasses mocked Jejun's silence and said with a sarcastic smile that his silence is clear confirmation that he is indeed Jejun. Then the other man asked him to get on the bike with them, saying they came to take him. The man continued talking, explaining to Ji that there's someone called Kang Do-il from Daesun Industrial School, who became one of the top 3 strongest in the school in his second year, and is a person known in the city for his strength and ferocity. The other man added with a sarcastic tone that their school is different from Jejun's school, which he described as a place where losers gather. Then he went on to say that Kang Do-il wants to meet him and asked Jejun to hurry up and ride with them. He added sarcastically to reassure Jejun that he won't die, and that this is just an initial invitation, nothing more. But Jejun continued standing silently, which angered the other man, who sharply asked if he was deaf and ordered him again to get on. When Ji didn't respond, one of them grabbed his bag forcefully, trying to pull him to the bike. The man with glasses got furious and threatened Jejun, saying he was too stubborn, and wondered if Jejun would only ride after they broke his legs. Then he threatened him again, saying he should get on while they're still being nice to him, and pulled him by his bag. At that moment, Jejun moved quickly away from the man's grip with a sudden movement. The two men became extremely angry at Jejun's reaction, and yelled at him angrily for resisting and trying to escape. The man with glasses decided that talking was useless with Jejun and that they had to use force. Then the two started chasing him angrily, threatening him that he'd be done for if they caught him. Jejun moved quickly toward one of the narrow alleys. Meanwhile, the man with glasses tried to catch up to him quickly on his motorcycle, threatening Jejun that he'd destroy him as soon as he caught him, but the man suddenly lost control and crashed hard into a wall. The other man continued the chase on the second bike, screaming at his partner to get out of his way. He kept chasing Jejun and climbed the stairs after him quickly, jumping with his bike, forcefully trying to catch him. He yelled at Jejun to stop immediately as he sped toward him, but Jejun quickly kicked a garbage bag on the ground toward the attacking man. The bag hit the man's face with great force, causing him to fall off his bike and lose his balance violently. Then the man fell hard on the ground while his partner watched in shock. In the end, the two men crashed into each other on the ground, and the situation ended with them being stunned by what happened. They rolled violently on the ground amid screams of pain. The motorcycle flew through the air and crashed violently on the ground, terrifying the injured man. The man with glasses checked on his partner and asked if he was okay, but his partner screamed in frustration, demanding that he catch Jejun immediately. The two men got up quickly, trying to determine the direction Jejun escaped to, angrily wondering where he disappeared. Suddenly, one of them spotted him from afar and yelled, "There he is!" They resumed the chase, screaming angrily and vowing to catch Jejun, but Jejun disappeared again in a maze of alleys, increasing their anger and frustration. After a few moments, one of them spotted Jejun again, running in another alley. One of the two men finally managed to grab Jejun and yelled that he caught him. Then he screamed in his face with extreme anger, declaring that he was definitely done for. But when the man turned his head, he was shocked when he realized he had grabbed the wrong person, not Jejun, and asked the terrified student why he grabbed him. The second man ran toward them, confused and angry, asking who this person was, while his concern increased as he repeated his questions about where Jejun was. Out of sheer frustration, one of them hit the Jejun lookalike hard, scolding him for suddenly appearing from the alley. Meanwhile, Jejun calmly appeared from a high ledge, watching what was happening from afar calmly. He seemed calm and confident as he witnessed his pursuer's failure. Jejun slowly turned around and walked away from the scene, and the sun gradually set over the quiet city. Elsewhere, Kang Do-il appeared sitting among his men as they punished several students for failing to bring Ji. The two men who chased Jejun complained that they almost caught him, describing him as extremely elusive. One of Kang Do-il's followers got angry and kicked one of them violently, scolding them for failing to bring one person. The two tried to explain that the alleys were like a maze, but Kang Do-il yelled in their faces saying that was just an excuse. Then he smiled wickedly, saying he was now more excited to meet Ji-jun. At the same time, Kang Do-il asked the student Min if he had discovered anything about Ji-jun. Min got nervous and panicked. Min answered nervously that he had indeed searched for Ji-jun and started showing what he found. Kang Do-il read the information from Min's phone, which was only about Ji-jun being late to school, his popularity with girls, and that he still doesn't talk. Kang Do-il got angry and said this wasn't real or useful information. One of his followers grabbed Min's head forcefully, angry at his failure. Min felt extreme frustration and sadness, wondering to himself why he had to go through all this. Kang Do-il ordered everyone to carry out harsh physical punishment and stood over them coldly watching its execution. In the end, Kang Do-il ordered his men to let the students go, but he revealed a plan to trap Ji-jun after school at the back gate. Min was in a difficult position as Kang Do-il threatened him and ordered him to lure Ji to the back gate after school, insisting that he should at least be able to do this much. Then Kang Do-il assigned the task to his follower Daisuke, ordering him to bring Ji-jun to him directly. Kang Do-il sat confidently and announced that he was really looking forward to meeting Ji tomorrow. Daisuke responded with enthusiasm and confidence, saying he would take care of it. Meanwhile, Min felt extreme frustration and worry, wondering why he was chosen for this task. He's not even close to Ji-jun. The next day, Min showed up carrying 2 drinks in his hands, with tension clearly visible on his face. A cheerful classmate approached him and jokingly asked about one of the drinks, praising Min's generosity for buying him a drink. Min sharply refused, saying the drink wasn't for him. Suddenly, Min noticed Jigon approaching and became even more tense while his classmate called him cheap. Jigon walked calmly, unaware of what was happening. Min greeted Jigon with an exaggerated, cheerful tone and offered him one of the drinks, as if they were close friends. Trying to get closer to him, Min smiled broadly and told Jigon he looked great today, offering him the drink he had bought. But Jigon turned to him coldly without saying a word. Min tried to explain that he wasn't one of Seto's followers, claiming that everything that happened was just a misunderstanding and that he just wanted to clear things up. Then he said enthusiastically that he felt great relief seeing Seto defeated in front of everyone, describing his feeling as similar to the relief you feel when finally getting to use the bathroom after holding it in for a long time. He offered the drink to Jigon again enthusiastically, asking him to share it, but Jigon walked away again, completely uninterested, leaving Min muttering to himself that Jigon was arrogant and conceited. At the same time, Min's anxiety increased, realizing this task wouldn't be as easy as he thought, wondering how he would convince Jigon to go to the back gate after school. A terrifying image of Daisuke threatening him and warning him not to mess up the mission flashed through his mind. In the classroom, things seemed normal as Jigon was resting his head on his desk. Students were chatting about food, hunger, and today's lunch menu, but Jigon sat alone and isolated in the middle of the classroom. After a short while, he slowly raised his head, then got up and left the classroom alone, without Min noticing him watching from afar. Min continued tracking Jigon's movements, wondering if he had brought his lunch, as he hadn't seen him in the cafeteria. Jigon left the school building, carrying his meal, and walked toward an isolated bench, noticing a phone on it. Jigon stared silently at the phone in front of him. Suddenly, a notification appeared on the screen with a message. "Are you going to eat bread again today?" Elsewhere, a girl appeared confused and surprised, looking at her phone anxiously. Jigon looked at the phone he found and read the incoming messages, with signs of surprise appearing on his face. The phone vibrated in his hand again, drawing his attention more. A message appeared, saying the sender knew that Jigon always ate alone on the school roof, adding that they also ate alone and had seen him there several times, explaining that this was why they wanted to talk to him. Jigon looked around with a questioning and suspicious look, trying to identify the source of the messages. Then another message arrived, stating that the sender was on the other side of the roof. The sender raised their hand and waved from afar, trying to get Jigon's attention, then waved more forcefully to make sure Jigon saw them. In another message, the sender apologized, saying it was still difficult for them to meet people face to face, and added that they heard Jigon never spoke. Then the sender frankly admitted they suffered from the same speaking problem and asked, "Why do you never speak?" Ji tried to respond but hesitated and remained silent. Suddenly, Min appeared and called out loudly to Ji. Min approached with an exaggerated smile, expressing his happiness at meeting him again by chance. He was carrying a bag and told Jigon he came here to eat some bread, then asked if he was eating alone. Min enthusiastically suggested they eat together, confirming it was a good idea. The two sat on the bench in silence, each eating their food. Meanwhile, the girl Aram was seen watching them from afar, eating quietly alone on the roof. Suddenly, Min started coughing and choking while eating, then suddenly started crying and admitted to Ji that he actually didn't have any friends. Min explained that the reason he joined Seto's group was his fear of loneliness and isolation. He begged Ji in a sad tone, asking him to be his friend since they were both outcasts. Jigon looked in silence with a serious and hesitant expression. Min felt disappointed that his plan to gain Jigon's trust hadn't worked, and began to think he was acting foolishly. Jigon got up and walked away silently without responding. Min panicked and felt desperate as he watched Jigon leave, believing all his efforts had gone to waste. He grabbed Jigon's arm, trying to stop him, and shouted his name desperately. Min looked at him with a desperate look and said in a broken voice, "We'll be friends, right?" Min remained kneeling, clinging to Jigon's arm and begging him not to leave, but Jigon forcefully pulled his arm away and left him there on the ground alone, making Min feel extremely frustrated and angry at the failure of his plan. Min received a threatening message from Daesuk, asking him why he hadn't brought Jigon yet. Min sat in the classroom confused and terrified, wondering what he should do now. He told himself there was still a chance, and he had to bring Jigon by any means possible. Min rushed toward the classroom looking for Jigon, his anxiety increasing when he saw students leaving and feared Jigon had already gone home. But when he reached the classroom, he was surprised to find it empty. Suddenly, he noticed Jigon sitting alone by the window. Jigon was staring silently and calmly out the window. Min noticed how calm and completely isolated Jigon was, and thought to himself that he would leave alone if things stayed this way. At that moment, Min received another threatening message from Daesuk, asking how long he would wait. Min became visibly nervous and decided to approach Ji, calling his name hesitantly. He tried to seem friendly and cheerful, telling Jigon he hadn't left yet, and said he told his mother he had made a new friend, and she was happy about it. He continued explaining that his mother wanted to meet Jigon, and invited him to visit the market where she worked. Jigon remained silent and didn't give a clear response, making Min feel uncomfortable. He apologized, saying he might be asking for too much, but insisted that Jigon come with him even for a short time. Min started thinking nervously that refusing his mother's request would be unacceptable, and that Jigon had to agree. He noticed Jigon's calm and cold expressions, and felt growing anger inside because of his hesitation and lack of interaction. Min became visibly tense, and said loudly to Jigon that since they were friends, he should come with him for a bit. Aram was quietly watching the situation as the two left together. As they were walking, Jigon was told that going through the back gate was faster. Inside, he felt guilty and ashamed toward Jigon, knowing his innocence and unfamiliarity with the area would expose him to danger. They continued walking, and Min thought anxiously about whether he should at least give Jigon a small warning. Min sent a message to Daesuk telling him they were about to reach the back gate, and an evil smile appeared on Daesuk's face when he saw the message. Daesuk approached Ji and Min at the back gate, clearly planning something evil. He passed very close to Jigon without warning, then deliberately collided with him forcefully, causing him to clearly lose his balance. Jigon fell violently to the ground, shocked by what had just happened. Daesuk grabbed Jigon's bag and directed a veiled threat at him, saying he should be more careful, then warned him that if he was going to fall that easily, he didn't deserve the attention he was getting. Suddenly, Daesuk attacked Jigon again, screaming his name in anger. Jigon hit the ground hard from Daesuk's powerful strike. Daesuk grabbed Jigon's clothes harshly and smiled threateningly and mockingly, saying, "It's great we finally met, you bastard." He held Jigon by his clothes while Daesuk mocked him, commenting on his good appearance but downplaying his strength, saying his skills were probably exaggerated. Suddenly, Ji quickly raised his leg and directed a powerful kick to Daesuk's body. The kick hit with full force, making Daesuk release Jigon from his grip due to the force of the blow. Daesuk fell violently to the ground from the sudden strike. Jigon landed on his feet lightly and with perfect balance, but his phone flew from his hand due to the strong landing. The phone hit the ground and slid toward a nearby drain. Ji looked toward his fallen phone with obvious concern, but Daesuk didn't give up easily and attacked Ji again in a rage, shouting, "Is that all you've got?" This time, the blow was stronger, and Jigon took it directly, with its effect being clearly painful. Jigon fell to the ground from the force of the blow, intensifying the fight. While falling, Jigon accidentally stepped on the phone, pushing it away from the drain. Daesuk's anger increased, and he threatened Ji, saying he would finish him off completely in the next round. But Jigon got up quickly and steadily, ready for the next confrontation. Daesuk mocks Jigon again, wondering if his weak body was really capable of handling the weight difference between them. Jigon calmly and confidently wipes the blood from his mouth, ready for what's coming. At the same time, Min watches the fight from afar, his facial expressions full of regret and sadness about what's happening to Jigon, but convinced that Daesek will finish it soon. Daesek launches another powerful attack on Jigon, challenging him to try blocking this blow too. Jigon takes the brutal hit again and flies through the air from the force of the impact. He falls backward, and his books and belongings scatter from his bag due to the force, but he manages to soften the fall by using his backpack to protect himself from a harder landing. Daesek sarcastically comments on Jigon's intelligence for using his bag to reduce the shock. Then he smiles an evil smile, sarcastically wondering if Jigon was smarter than he looked. Jigon prepares to continue the fight and starts emptying his bag of books and belongings. Daesek rushes forward again with force, saying such tricks won't work on him a second time, but this time, Ji dodges the attack with a quick and agile movement. He takes advantage of the dodge to launch a counterattack. Jigon quickly wraps his bag strap around Daesek's leg, using his speed to his advantage. Then he lunges forward with tremendous force and throws Daesek to the ground, using the bag forcefully and strategically. Shock appears on Daesek's face as he realizes he didn't expect such a sudden move from Jigon. The scene ends with Daesek defeated on the ground while Ji stands over him, holding the bag he used to take him down. Daesek gets up angrily and screams in Jigon's face, but Jigon anticipates his movement with a quick and surprising action, directing a powerful kick directly at Daesek's face, stopping before it touches him. The move was so unexpected that Daesek was stunned and lost his balance. Daisuke tries to stand up again while in pain, cursing Ji and calling him a stubborn bastard. Then he yells, asking who Ji thinks he is to act so arrogant in front of him. But Jigon responds with another powerful kick directly to his head, causing Daisuke to lose his balance and collapse to the ground. Daisuke lies completely exhausted on the ground while Jigon walks away calmly and confidently. From a distance, someone watches the scene in total shock, unable to believe that Ji actually defeated Daisuke. Daisuke tries to get up again, but the pain and exhaustion are clear on his face. Jigon walks calmly, but his phone slips from his hand and falls to the ground without him noticing. He leaves the area holding the phone in his hand. Daisuke gets up angrily once more and yells that it's not over, rushing toward Jigon again. But Ji quickly responds with a powerful strike, forcing Daisuke to fall to the ground again. Jigon also falls during the clash, and his phone flies from his hand and lands far from him. Daisuke notices the fallen phone and picks it up mockingly, asking Ji if the phone is really that important to him. Then Daisuke smiles wickedly, saying that all he has to do now is take Jigon to Kang-do-il, and adds with fake sympathy that dragging him like this will be difficult. Suddenly, the sound of an approaching motorcycle interrupts the scene. Daisuke's partner appears rushing toward them on a motorcycle. Daisuke quickly jumps on the bike and tells Jigon that if he wants his phone back, he needs to come to Sitgil Park. He adds that a welcome party is already waiting for him there. Daisuke and his partner ride off on the motorcycle, while Jigon and Min watch them disappear into the horizon. Min rushes to Jigon in a state of panic, asking if he's okay. He examines Jigon's face worriedly and asks if he's injured anywhere. Min tells Jigon that the situation was extremely dangerous, then asks with deep concern what he'll do now that they've taken his phone. He seriously warns him that the phone contains his personal information, and things could get much worse if they access it. Min pretends to be very sorry and tells Jigon he can meet his mother another time, and urges him to quickly head to Sitgil Park. In his mind, Min tells himself that he's done enough, that he's done his duty well, but he still feels nervous and uncertain whether Jigon will actually go. He decides to quietly withdraw so he doesn't seem suspicious, but he's suddenly shocked to see Jigon actually moving toward the location. Min watches as Jigon walks away. Jigon continues on his way to the park while Min stands shocked, wondering to himself why Jigon would take such a big risk for a phone. Jigon climbs the stairs toward the park with calm and steady steps. Upon arrival, he sees several people standing on the stairs in his path, clearly waiting for him, suggesting they're part of the group expecting his arrival. A person sits on a bench, watching Jigon with sharp, piercing eyes. Another stands next to the Sitgil Park sign, and also appears to be waiting for Jigon. Jigon remains calm and steady as he observes the group before him. In front of Jigon, another group of individuals gathers, and they appear ready for confrontation. Their facial expressions are fierce and intimidating, indicating the danger of the situation. Ji stands before them with clear confidence and calmness, completely ready for what's coming. Behind this group, Kang-do-il appears, sitting in complete relaxation, surrounded by his followers, and it's obvious he's their leader. Kang-do-il looks at Ji with a mixture of admiration and mockery, saying with a smile, "He really is a special person." He raises the phone taken from Ji and asks mockingly if he came all this way just for this phone. Jigwon approaches without saying a word, walking confidently toward Kang Do-il. Kang Do-il starts examining the stolen phone and mocks, saying it doesn't seem to contain anything important. He adds that the phone has no saved contacts or call history and appears almost empty, but suddenly he notices something on the phone and smiles wickedly, saying it only contains a few text messages. He adds mockingly that the messages are from a girl who was watching him, which increases his amusement and curiosity even more. Ji stands before the leader and silently extends his hand toward him to retrieve his phone, but Kang Do-il mocks Jigwon again, asking sarcastically if that girl is his girlfriend or just a passing fling. Then he expresses his curiosity, revealing that he sent a message to the girl himself because he got bored from just looking at it. The leader explains that he sent her a text message to stir things up and start the fun. Elsewhere, Aram receives a new message on her phone. She's surprised by the unexpected message. The message starts with a simple, "Hello." Then the sender writes that he feels extremely lonely and asks to meet her. He continues, "If you come to Sitgil Park today, you'll be my girlfriend from now on." Aram is left shocked and extremely astonished after reading the message. The leader finishes speaking with an evil smile, telling Jigwon that if the girl actually shows up after reading that message, it means she definitely has feelings for him. Kang Do-il continues his mockery, telling Jigwon that once the girl becomes his girlfriend, he should congratulate him and treat him nicely. Jigwon silently extends his hand again toward the phone, maintaining his complete calmness. But Kang Do-il mocks him more and says provocatively, "So, you want the phone?" as he places it at his feet. Then the leader points to his followers and tells Jigwon that his men went through a lot just to bring him here. He mentions Seto, saying he always expected Seto would get beaten up someday because of his recklessness, but he's still an old classmate from middle school. Then he turns to Jigwon, asking if he came prepared to pay the price. Jigwon remains silent, which prompts Kang Do-il to mock his silence again, commenting that he never talks. Then Kang Do-il tells Jigwon that if he can keep his phone throughout the fight, he'll give it back to him. He warns Jigwon that the situation is dangerous, and that ranking fights in this area are brutal and intense, and that Jigwon probably doesn't understand that since he's a newly transferred student. Then he adds more clearly that the moment Jigwon challenged the guy called Seto, he had already entered the ranking fight. Suddenly, Kang Do-il yells with enthusiasm, eager to see how strong Jigwon is and what he's capable of. At that moment, Daisuke appears behind Jigwon and smiles wickedly, saying this is the place for revenge. Daisuke tries to hit Jigwon hard from behind, but Ji dodges the strike easily and calmly. Daisuke gets angry and swears revenge on Ji. Then he yells at the entire group, ordering them to attack Ji and grab him. One of the group members rushes toward Ji forcefully, but Jigwon dodges him, then clenches his fist tightly, ready to counter the attack. The attacker is surprised by Jigwon's speed and strength, but Jigwon stops. At that moment, several people attack Jigwon all at once, but Ji counters the attack with exceptional skill and intense focus. Soon the situation becomes very difficult for him, as more attackers join in. Ji takes several consecutive hits that knock him to the ground forcefully. Someone tries to deliver a very strong blow to his head. Jigwon falls to the ground, clearly in pain from the brutal attack. He tries to get up again despite the severe pain he feels. The scene ends with Jigwon continuing to receive harsh blows from several attackers at once. While Kang Do-il watches, the scene continues with the group leader expressing his surprise that Jigwon is only defending himself without trying to fight. He asks in confusion whether Jigwon is uninterested in competing for the ranking in the area. As the group members continue beating him harshly, one of them yells angrily that Jigwon hasn't screamed even once, despite all this beating, asking sarcastically whether Ji is risking his life just to stay silent. Kang Do-il wonders with a mocking smile about what kind of voice Jigwon might have if he decided to speak someday. Then he yells enthusiastically, announcing that anyone who makes Jigwon scream in pain will get a pair of limited edition sneakers as a reward. The members get extremely excited when they hear about the reward and express their joy and enthusiasm. They all rush toward Jigwon again with brutal intensity. Ji receives extremely harsh blows to his face. Kang Do-il yells harshly at Jigwon, demanding he show his skills and prove he's really a special person. At that moment, Daisuke appears again and yells at the others to move aside, shouting at Jigwon mockingly and angrily, "Where's that arrogance now? Or are you scared?" Daisuke hits Jigwon with a brutal blow, causing obvious injury and bleeding. Ji falls to the ground in severe pain from the powerful strike. He breathes with difficulty as he lies on the ground, his face covered with bruises and wounds. At that moment, one of the group members picks up a rock from the ground and yells angrily that he'll make Ji scream no matter what it takes. He raises the rock high, ready to hit Ji, saying he never liked his face and this will fix it. Suddenly, Kang Do-il intervenes, prevents the man from seriously hurting Jigwon, and hits him hard. He glares at the attacker and asks angrily if he wants to die because of this shameful act. Kang Do-il approaches Ji and grabs him by the collar and lifts him up, asking mockingly if he's enjoying the beating or if he's hiding something behind his silence. He warns him that this won't end until Jigwon proves himself and shows what he's capable of. Meanwhile, Min is seen watching the scene from afar. He feels extremely sorry for Jigwon and admits to himself that this group is much stronger than Seto. But suddenly, Min notices a girl approaching the place and feels a wave of panic at her appearance. The leader, who's still holding Ji's stolen phone, receives a text message from the girl asking him to leave Jigwon alone and let him go. The leader suddenly turns toward Jigwon, surprised by the message. Arum appears standing at a distance, watching the situation with obvious concern and tension. The leader smiles at Jigwon with a wicked smile and tells him that this might be the moment he'll finally regain his will to fight. Kang Do-il tells Jigwon that his girlfriend has actually arrived, pointing to Aram who just appeared. One of the group members starts moving quickly toward the girl. One of the group members orders Aram to come closer with a clearly threatening tone. The girl tries to reply with a message on her phone, her hands trembling, and she types, "I am," but she hesitates and stops. Suddenly, one of the men rushes toward her from behind while she's still focused on her phone. He grabs her hand roughly and pulls her forcefully. The man's face becomes visible as he holds her, commenting rudely that she's pretty. He tries to pull her with even more force, and she looks terrified and completely shocked. He asks her mockingly where she thought she was going, coming here alone. Min watches the situation in complete shock and extreme worry as he realizes the girl is Aram, their classmate. He tries to call out to Aram, panicked and very afraid for her safety. Meanwhile, the man tells Aram that she should come see her friend's face, pointing to Jijin. Min watches the scene from afar, paralyzed with fear and unable to intervene. The man drags Aram to where Jijin and the leader are sitting, announcing mockingly that he brought her. Jijin looks at Aram in deep shock at her unexpected arrival. They exchange looks and Aram's face clearly shows sadness and deep concern. Aram remembers an earlier moment when she once met Jijin in the rain and silently offered him an umbrella. That moment seems connected to a painful memory for her. Then when she saw the hero on the roof, she quickly hid, and when she waved at him. Back to the present, Aram's facial expressions are clearly worried and confused by the situation. Jijin is severely shocked to see Aram standing before him in such a dangerous situation. The group members mock Aram's presence, saying they didn't expect she would actually come. One of them mocks and asks if she came to be Jijin's girlfriend, but says he's very busy right now. Then he tells her they were just disciplining him a little, because he's annoying and difficult. Aram writes a message on her phone while trembling, trying to explain that Jigin is just a friend, and asking them to leave him alone. But Kang Do-il gets annoyed because Aram doesn't speak and asks mockingly why she's silent too, just like Jijin. He walks toward Aram and firmly demands that she tell him her name. When Aram remains silent, the leader gets angrier and mocks their silence, saying they're exactly alike. The group laughs and mocks the silent duo, jokingly calling them the duo that doesn't talk. Finally, Kang Do-il announces to everyone that he doesn't care which one speaks first, but whoever makes either of them talk will get a reward from him. Daisuke asks Kang Do-il if the rule also applies to the girl, and the latter answers yes. The group starts harassing Aram, saying if she can't talk, she can't say no either, and they start approaching her rudely. One of them grabs her hand and demands she say something while she looks extremely terrified. Another approaches Aram and starts talking about the smell of her hair, causing her more fear and confusion. Upon hearing this, extreme anger appears on Ji's face as he listens to their provocative words. Kang Do-il turns to Jijin with a mocking tone, asking him what he plans to do now and whether he'll continue staying silent. Jijin continues staring silently without responding, so the leader angrily demands again that he say something. The group intensifies its harassment of Aram, becoming more aggressive and pressing her hard to speak. Xiang Min watches the situation from afar, shocked and very afraid for Aram. The violence toward Aram escalates as one of them forcefully asks her when she'll use her mouth, demanding she scream. At that moment, Jijin suddenly appears, delivering a powerful blow to one of the group members harassing Aram. The person who was hit immediately falls to the ground, and everyone is shocked by what just happened. Jijin continues his sudden brave attack, landing a strong punch on another member of the group. The situation intensifies as Jigin delivers another brutal blow to another member of the group, and everyone starts being amazed by Jigin's sudden strength. Another person falls to the ground from Jijin's powerful attack. Kang Do-il smiles an evil smile and comments that Jijin has finally started fighting. The group members try to attack Ji again with extreme anger. Aram watches the situation in a state of shock and concern for Jigin. The group starts attacking Ji with extreme violence. They all rush toward him and begin their attack, but Jijin faces them bravely trying to defend himself, then grabs one of their feet to drop him on the rest of his companions. But one of them pounced on him and grabbed him and threw him to the ground. But Jijin grabbed him by the head and raised his fist and delivered a powerful punch to his face. Jijin also dodges a strong kick, then grabs that guy's foot. But Daisuke appears, running violently toward Ji, vowing he'll finish this himself this time. One of the gang members struggles to free his leg from Ji's grip, screaming in pain, "Let go of my leg!" But Jijin responds with a brutal and powerful attack, smashing the man's face with a crushing blow that sends him to the ground. Jijin quickly gets up and prepares for another violent strike as he rushes toward Daisuke. Daisuke tries to throw a punch at Jijin, but Jijin dodges it and strikes him ferociously, delivering a devastating kick to Daisuke's knee. Daisuke loses his balance. Jijin follows up with a powerful kick to his face, violently throwing him to the ground. Jijin continues his attack with overwhelming force and anger, kicking Daisuke in the face again brutally, making him scream in pain. Meanwhile, Kang Do-il watches the scene from afar with a smile, commenting that Ji is truly a rare character. Daisuke tries to get up again in pain and great difficulty, rushing toward Jijin once more, colliding with him with tremendous force while screaming in blind rage, cursing Jijin. But Jijin raises his fists above Daisuke's head, ready to end the fight decisively. Jijin delivers a powerful elbow strike that severely damages him, then follows it with a series of strong and continuous punches to Daisuke's face, leaving him bloodied and bruised. Daisuke collapses to the ground unconscious from the brutal attack, while the entire group looks on in shock and amazement. At that moment, the rest of the group members rush toward Ji with extreme anger, ready to avenge Daisuke. But Jijin confronts them forcefully, quickly dropping them from a distance. Kang Do-il continues expressing his great admiration for Ji's strength, wondering about his true nature, saying Jijin is more interesting than he imagined. Suddenly, one of the group members threatens Jijin, demanding he kneel immediately, holding Aram, and threatening to hurt her if he doesn't. A look of shock appears on Jijin's face when he sees Aram in danger. Suddenly, a memory flashes in Jijin's mind of the same situation, and a girl's voice calling his name from afar with deep concern while crying. A violent spark of anger ignites in Jijin's eyes, and he seems to be losing control. He starts approaching the man holding Aram, and the man panics and screams at Jijin to stop. Aram watches the scene in terror and extreme concern. At the last moment, while Ji is focused on saving Aram, another attacker appears from behind him, trying to strike him, but Ji delivers a powerful blow to the attacker who tried to ambush him. Violent anger burns in Ji's eyes as he rushes quickly toward the man holding Aram. The man panics and screams in fear at Jijin not to come closer, but Jijin ignores the warning and delivers a brutal and harsh blow to the man's head, making him fall to the ground. The man quickly apologizes, saying he made a mistake and begs for mercy, but Jijin doesn't respond and continues attacking him with extreme violence. The anger and intensity on Jijin's face increases as he unleashes a series of consecutive brutal blows. At that moment, Kang Do-il intervenes and screams at Jigin to stop immediately. The leader takes out the phone and returns it to Jigin, telling him he deserves it because he passed the test. Then he invites Jijin in a friendly tone to join their group, saying he can't resist something he wants. But Jijin doesn't respond and ignores the offer, looking extremely exhausted and angry. Jijin continues walking toward Kang Do-il, who tries to convince him it's over and asks what he's doing. His tension increases under Jijin's angry looks, and he tells him again to stop, but Jijin suddenly tries to strike him forcefully. Kang Do-il smiles an evil smile and prepares to fight, taking a fighting stance that clearly shows his high fighting skills. Ji tries to deliver a blow, but the leader dodges it easily and with lightning speed. Then Kang Do-il responds with a devastating punch to Jigin's face, completely surprising him. The blow was so powerful it lifted Jijin off the ground and knocked him backward. Signs of shock and severe pain appear on Jijin's face as he clearly loses control. Jijin falls to the ground completely collapsed from the force of the blow. Kang Do-il approaches and says mockingly, "I already told you." Then in a clearly threatening tone, he repeats that he warned him before and told him to stop, but he didn't. While Jian is on the ground, Kang Do-il approaches him and tells him, "I'll give you time to think, and I'll come back to get your answer." He throws him his phone, and Kang Do-il tells his men, "Let's go." While Kang Do-il is walking with his men, Daisuke asks him, "Who is this person? Are you really going to let him join us? I was actually scared of him when he lost his temper." Kang Do-il thinks about what happened, and says, "When I dodged his strike, he reacted to me in that moment. He has a talent for targeting weak points, because he's exceptional. I'm going to keep him." We go back to Ji-yeon, who is sitting with Aram, and Aram keeps looking at him because he has so many wounds, and Aram cries because she doesn't know what to do for him. Then she suddenly leaves and runs out. Jiyeon looks at his phone and finds she wrote him a message saying, "I'm going to get you medicine, please stay where you are." While Jiyeon is sitting, he remembers what happened to Aram when one of the gang members attacked her. Then Jiyeon decides to put the phone aside and gets up. Songmin is standing behind a tree and says, "If it had been a one-on-one fight from the start, Kang Do-il would have won, we should deal with Jiyeon." While he's walking, he notices the phone that Jiyeon left and walked away. As soon as he sees the phone, he remembers when they saw each other for the first time, and he thinks and says, "This means this phone. Aram is the one who gave it to Jiyeon." Then he notices that Aram is coming from behind, so Aram is surprised when she sees Songmin. Songmin gets nervous and doesn't know what to do, so he hides the phone and runs away, and Aram notices that Jiyeon left. While Songmin is running away, a message comes to the phone. He looks at the message and finds Aram saying in the message that she got the medicine for Jiyeon, but he left. Aram thinks the phone is with Jiyeon, but as soon as Songmin sees the message, he says, Aram is worried about Jiyeon, and he acts cold toward her, and she puts down the phone and leaves. "I don't know what to do. Should I reply to reassure her?" Aram sends another message letting him know that she's the one talking to him. Songmin says, "I know it's you." Aram sends him more messages asking him to talk to each other. Songmin is nervous and doesn't know what to do. "I'm going to be Jiyeon. I feel like I don't know how to act." Aram is sitting, then suddenly stands up when she sees a message from Jiyeon saying he agrees to talk, but the one who sent the message is Songmin. Songmin's friend comes over holding his phone, watching the video of Jiyeon's fight, and he can't believe that Jiyeon was able to defeat that many people. Songmin tells him it's good I was able to film what happened because I was shocked. His friend tells him this is going to be famous. Songmin thinks and says so Aram is impressed by him, and he's upset that she loves him, but happy that Jiyeon rejected her. Songmin's friend says if I post this video it'll go viral quickly. Songmin says, "What? No." He takes his friend's phone and runs, so Songmin runs after him. But while Songmin is running, he bumps into someone, and the student he bumped into is named Kim, a strong student. Songmin gets scared as soon as he sees Kim in front of him and apologizes for what he did, and tells him I'll put everything back the way it was, and he puts the pin back on the tie, but Kim hits him hard in the face, and they leave him and walk away. His friend comes back to him and asks, "Songmin, are you okay?" Songmin tells him, "Do you think I'm okay?" His friend tells him it's good, it ended like that. It's just because his mood is bad, and they like fighting. When Jiyeon arrives at school, Yina runs to him and checks on him, saying, "What's with your face full of wounds?" But Songmin is upset with Jiyeon because girls like him, and why is he the one girls like? When Songmin sees Aram, he greets her, but she ignores him and walks away. He thinks that to be able to talk to Aram, he has to get close to Jiyeon, and Songmin's friend is standing far from Songmin and is posting the video. We go to the classroom after that, and we see the students bullying Joe Man, and one of them is holding Joe Man and drawing a funny face on his head, and after he finishes the drawing, the students keep laughing at him. Then the students tell him to walk backward, and when Joe Man hears them and walks backward, he trips down the stairs and falls, but Jiyeon catches Joe Man before he falls. Yina asks him, "Are you okay?" Joe Man tells her, "Yeah, I'm okay." Yina is surprised when she sees the drawing on Joe Man's head and asks him, "What's this?" Joe Man tells her the students did this as a joke. Yina gets embarrassed when she finds out, but Joe Man notices that Jiyeon isn't laughing at him, and then they go to their classroom. We go to a student standing and watching the place, and there are two people inside fighting each other, and many students are standing watching the fight, and this is a bet between those two. And the one running all this is Kim. Kim is sitting, and one of his followers comes and shows him the video of Jiyeon beating Kang's gang, and one of his men tells him, "Did you see the student who just transferred?" Kim is surprised and says, "Is this student from our school?" He tells him yes because his uniform is like ours. Kim tells him he has skills. If he's really from our school, this will be a great success. Then one of Kim's men calls the students. Kim asks them, "Does anyone know the new transfer student here?" One of the students tells him, "Yeah, there's a student in the class next to us," but he doesn't talk at all. Kim asks him what grade is he in. The student tells him 5th grade. There's also a rumor that says Seo Taksu went to the hospital because of him. Kim is surprised when he hears this and says, "I need to know more information about this kid," and he tells one of his men, "I want you to get me more information about him." We go back to Joe Man who is sitting and the students tell him, "Come eat with us." He tells them, "No, you guys go." As soon as Jiyeon leaves, Joe Man goes and tells him he brought food so they can eat together and asks him, "Can we eat together just once?" When they go up to the roof, they find that Jeongmin is standing waiting for them. Jeongman asks him, "Why are you standing here?" Jeongmin tells him, "I was standing here waiting for Jiyeon to eat together." Jo-man tells him I'm here too to eat with Ji-yeon, but when Jong-min sees the drawing on Jo-man's head, he keeps laughing and tells him you're making people laugh. Jo-man tells him I'm not making people laugh. Jong-min tells him then, why are you walking like that? Jo-man tells him it's because of bullying me, and the two of them keep bickering with each other. But suddenly a message comes to Ji-yeon's phone which is with Jong-min in his pocket. Jong-min decides to move away from them, and he opens the phone and sees the message. He finds Arum sent it to Ji-yeon telling him to eat his lunch. He replies to her saying yeah, I'll do that, and he sends her a message saying you too. Arum is hiding from him, and when she sees the message, she's surprised. Jung-min is surprised when he sees Jae in front of him. Jung-min asks him what brought you here, and where's Kim, but Jae goes to Ji-yeon and tells him I heard you come to the roof during lunch, and he gets close to him and takes out his phone and shows him the video and asks him is this you? Jung-min is surprised when he sees the video, and thinks and says my friend posted the video, and Jo-man doesn't understand anything. Jae tells Ji-yeon I wanted to know if these rumors are true or not. Get up and show me your skills. But Ji-yeon doesn't get up from his place. But Jae gets angry and attacks Ji-yeon and hits him, but Ji-yeon manages to dodge his strike. Jae hits him with many strikes, but Ji-yeon manages to dodge them all. Jae attacks Ji-yeon with all his strength, but Ji-yeon dodges his strike and goes down and kicks him in the leg, making his face hit the chair, so Jae falls to the ground and can't get up. And Jae finds his face all bloody, and when he looks at Ji-yeon he's scared of him, and he gets up and runs quickly to escape from the place. Jo-man and Jung-min are surprised by what happened, and Jo-man asks Ji-yeon who exactly are you? Jung-min tells him Ji-yeon is the person who put Seo Taeksu in the hospital. Jo-man tells him I know you're different from us, but I didn't know you were this tough. Jung-min tells them since this person came here, this is a danger sign, because he's part of Kim's gang, and if you have fighting skills, they'll force you to fight, and they'll use the gym as a fighting ring. Looks like Ji-yeon is their target. Jo-man is surprised when he finds out there's a fighting ring in school. Jung-min tells him I heard there are people who sign up to make money, and Ji-yeon can get money from them. Jo-man gets angry. What are you saying? Jung-min tells him I'm saying this because I trust Ji-yeon. Jo-man tells Ji-yeon, since you're not talking, I'll refuse them for you. You don't like fighting or attracting attention? I'll try to talk to them for you. Friends do anything. He tells Jung-min you don't know we're friends. Jung-min tells him why are you talking like you're his friend? Then Ji-yeon returns to the classroom and finds the students waiting for him, and they ask him are you the one in the video? Jo-man tells them don't bother him. If you want to talk about something talk to me. The students get annoyed and say why is he so close to him? Suddenly the door opens and Kim enters the classroom and asks them where is the new transfer student? The students get nervous and nobody talks, but they look at Ji-yeon. Kim understands and goes toward Ji-yeon, but he finds Jo-man standing in front of him, so he asks him who are you? Jo-man tells him if you want to talk to him, talk to me. One of Kim's followers tells him, are you someone important or something? Jo-man gets nervous and tells him all I'm saying is, if you want to talk, talk to me. This person hits him hard, he falls to the ground, and then he pulls him by his shirt and makes him stand up, and tells him did you come to make us laugh? Ji-yeon stands up after that. Kim tells Ji-yeon, you're the person who hit Jae and broke his nose. Did you hear about the gym? And he takes out a card, and tells Ji-yeon he came to give you an invitation. But since you refused I came here myself. Don't you want to have money? But Jo-man stands again and tells him Ji-yeon doesn't want to fight. That's why he won't go. Kim gets annoyed when he hears this, and kicks him with his leg, sending him flying from in front of him, breaking the table behind him, and Kim approaches him and tells him you don't know when to butt in, and Kim keeps kicking him hard. I want you to stay away like a failure. The students are shocked by what happened to Jo-man. Suddenly, Kim feels a hand placed on his shoulder. He turns to see who it is, and finds it's Jae-jun. Kim tells him, get your hand off me, understand? But Jae-jun grabs him by his shirt, so Kim gets angry. The person with Kim attacks Jae-jun and tells him take your hand off us, but Jae-jun manages to dodge his hit and leans on the desk, and Jae-jun hits him with his knee in his face, making his face all bloody. So that person falls to the ground. That person gets up again and tells Jae-jun you're dead, and he grabs a chair and throws it at Jae-jun, but Jae-jun manages to jump and dodge the chair, and jumps on the table. Jae-jun runs on the tables and kicks that person in the face, knocking him to the ground. Jae-jun is standing on the table, and the students are happy that Jae-jun is strong. That person gets up again, gets angry and picks up a table, but suddenly the teacher walks in on them and asks them what's going on. He tells the person holding the table to put it on the ground, and tells them you're fighting in the classroom of all places. He asks Jae-jun why are you standing like that? Kim takes his friend and tells the teacher we were just joking around, not fighting. Then Kim calls Jo-man and tells him I can get to Jae-jun through you. I'll see you again Jae-jun. Kim goes to the teacher and tells him teach them a lesson, don't want you to be upset. The students leave school after that, and Jo Man tells Jung Min that was a strong fight. He couldn't even touch Jae-jun. Jung Min is upset because he didn't see the fight and says I should have been there, but why didn't Jae-jun leave? Jo Man tells him the teacher asked him to wait. Jae-jun isn't the one who started the fight, but he was involved in it. We then go to Jae-jun who's sitting with the teacher, and the teacher gives him green tea. The teacher tells him the atmosphere at this school is completely different from your old school. We're located in the suburbs by the coast, and that's rare. When your father told me he'd transfer you to this place, I was against it. I thought it would be hard for you to adapt because you don't talk, but I thank your father for trusting me as a friend. The last time I saw you before you came here, you were 4 years old. We go back in time and see Jae-jun training. The teacher comes and greets his father, and greets Jae-jun. Jae-jun's father tells Jae-jun to greet the teacher, so Jae-jun greets the teacher. The teacher tells Jae-jun's father you turn the place into a gym, and tells Jae-jun you'll grow up to be the strongest. Then Jae-jun's father takes the teacher, and they walk away. We return to the present, and see the teacher telling Jae-jun to go back to that time. You were strong and had energy. I don't know what happened. You transferred to a school like this too. I told the other teachers to understand your situation, but you're supposed to deal with student problems yourself. Just because your father raised you to be strong doesn't mean it's only to train your body to be strong. I'm confident that one day you'll be fine. We go to Jo Man and Jung Min and it's raining. Jung Min tells Jo Man we don't need to worry about Kim and his friends. Jo Man tells him looks like he gave up because he can't find a way to deal with Jae-jun. But suddenly a message comes to Jung Min on Jae-jun's phone from Aram. Jung Min tells Jo Man I'm leaving now. Jung Min sees Aram sent him a message asking do you have an umbrella? Jung Min writes to Aram, why? Aram tells him I'm in front of the stationery store. Can you come? Jung Min thinks while running, and says she has an umbrella and is standing there. Jung Min goes to look at her, finds her actually standing and waiting for Jae-jun. He thinks and says, what should I do now? Should I get Jae-jun to meet Aram? But then he gets angry and says, no, I'll never let them share the umbrella together. But if it's like that, then he runs to look for Jae-jun. He thinks and says he might be in the principal's office. Aram is standing waiting for Jae-jun. Then she hears someone say, don't you have an umbrella, Jae-jun? She looks and finds Jung Min with Jae-jun telling him you got rained on last time too. Then he says, what's this? Aram, what are you doing here? Aram is surprised when she sees him with Jae-jun. Then Aram opens her bag and takes out an umbrella and gives it to Jae-jun. Jung Min thinks and says she wasn't going to share the umbrella with us. She took out the umbrella and held it in the middle, but she's under Jae-jun. If only for once, I want her to look at me. He takes the umbrella from her and tells her I needed the umbrella. Jae-jun and I are going somewhere together. We were going to the game center. Don't you want to come with us? We then go to Jo Man, who's walking but suddenly meets Kim's followers standing in front of him. Jae tells him so, you're the person who speaks for Jae-jun. There's a message I want you to tell Jae-jun. And they start beating him. Jae tells him I told you what to do. Jo Man tells him I'll make Jae-jun participate. Jae tells him you're honest, right? But Jo Man doesn't answer him, so Jae hits him hard in the face. Jo Man tells him okay, I'll talk to him. Jae tells him you know the cost you'll pay is your life. Kim tells them that's enough, he'll die. He takes out the card and gives it to Jo Man and tells him give it to Jae-jun and tell him welcome to the fighting ring. Then they leave him and walk away. We then go to Jung Min and Jae-jun who are sitting playing. Jung Min thinks and says forget about fighting, my skills in this game are strong. Aram is standing watching them, but Jae-jun manages to score a point. Jung Min says I let him win, but Jae-jun manages to make a move that makes him win. They play again, but Jae-jun manages to beat Jung Min. Jung Min goes to Aram and tells her your turn. He thinks and says, I know you won't look at me. Arum starts playing with Jae-jun, but Arum manages to beat Jae-jun. They go play another game. Jung Min tries to grab the teddy bear but can't. Jung Min tries again but fails and gets angry, saying this machine is broken. Jae-jun presses the red button and 2 prizes come out. He gives one to Jung Min and Aram. Jung Min thinks and says since things have reached this point, I'm forced to use my final steps. They then go to a room and Jung Min starts singing. He wants to sing so Aram will be impressed by his voice, but suddenly, Jung Min, while singing chokes and can't continue singing. He tells them I'll go get water. Then, Aram takes out her phone and writes to Jae-jun thank you for the toy, but suddenly she gets a call from her father. She gets up and walks but bumps into someone with coffee. Aram falls to the ground and the coffee spills on her. That person gets angry at her and tells her watch out. But Aram doesn't respond. That person tells her, aren't you going to apologize? Didn't you learn that when you make a mistake you apologize? Jung Min sees her and runs to her. The friend of the person who got coffee spilled on him tells, Jung Min, is this your girlfriend? Jung Min tells him no, we're friends. But the person with the coffee spills the coffee on Aram. Jungmin is shocked when he sees that, but Jae-jun comes and grabs his hands and trips him with his leg, knocking him to the ground. That person's friend attacks Jae-jun, but Jae-jun manages to dodge his hit, and Jae-jun hits him hard, knocking him to the ground. Aram is shocked when she sees that person fallen in front of her on the ground. Then Jae-jun helps her up and takes her, and they walk away. But that person gets up again and tells them to stop where they are, but Jae-jun takes Aram and they run away. After Jae-jun and Aram escape from the place, Jung-min stays behind. When that person sees him, he tells him, "Come here, you know them." Jung-min runs before that person can catch him. He takes the teddy bear out of his bag and calls them. When he comes out, he finds them going down the stairs. He calls them and tells them, "You're leaving me and running away?" Jung-min thinks and says they look good together. The person who saved Aram when she was in danger was Jae-jun, and I was just a failure. He cries and says, "I'm just an ordinary person. What is a person like me supposed to do?" But suddenly, while Sung-min is walking, he finds someone calling him. When he looks, he sees someone calling him. He finds Jo-man lying on the ground, his face full of wounds. Sung-min runs to Jo-man and asks him what happened to you. Jo-man cries and tells him, "I'm the one who made me go to Jae-jun and told him to speak for him." Jung-min tells him, "You got beaten by Kim's men?" Jo-man tells him, "I promised them I'd make Jae-jun participate in the fights that happen in the gym because I was scared." Jung-min cries and tells him, "You're not different from me. This is the life of scared losers." Then Sung-min supports Jo-man to help him walk. Jo-man thanks him for what he's doing for him and asks, "What will they do?" Jung-min tells him, "What are people like us supposed to do? If he considers us his friends, then he'll help us." We go to Jae-jun, who's holding Aram's hand to help her cross. But as soon as he holds her hand, she looks at him. They start looking at each other. Then he lets go of her hand and they walk together. Then Aram opens the umbrella for them because of the rain. But then Yena is walking with Yuri, but sees Jae-jun walking with Yena. She suddenly stops. Yuri asks her, "What are you looking at?" Yena tells her nothing. Yuri tells her, "Come on quickly, people are waiting for us." But Yena keeps looking at Jae-jun and Aram together. And after that, Arum's phone suddenly rings, but she doesn't see who it is. And they arrive at the place where Arum lives, and Aram takes out her phone and writes to Jae-jun, "This is the place where I live," and she gives him the umbrella and walks away. And Jae-jun decides to leave too, but suddenly he finds someone tapping on his shoulder, so when he turns around he finds Aram wrote to him, "Thanks for today." Then she leaves him and walks away and looks at him from above, but there's a person standing next to her looking at Jae-jun. Then he starts getting angry at her and tells her, "What are you doing all this for?" And the next day comes, and Jung-min keeps teasing Jo-man and hitting him and tells him, "You sold out Jae-jun." So Jo-man cries and tells him, "Yeah, a person like him deserves to die. I don't deserve to be his friend." And Jae-jun is sitting behind them eating, not caring about them. And Jung-min calls Jae-jun and tells him, "Hit him." And then Jung-min says to Jo-man, "When are they gonna do the fight?" So Jo-man tells him it'll be at 9 o'clock in the gym. So Sung-min tells him what's gonna happen if Jae-jun doesn't show up. So Jo-man cries and tells him, "They'll kill me." So Jae-jun gets up and stands. So Jung-min says to Jo-man, "They're really gonna kill you." So Jo-man tells him, "Yeah," so Jae-jun leaves them and walks away. So Jung-min says to Jo-man, "Is Jae-jun gonna go?" So Jo-man tells him, "I don't know." His face expression was cold. "I feel like I'm in trouble." So Jung-min tells him, "You should have cried more than that." Night comes and we see Jung-min and Jo-man in the gym, and there's a fight going on. So Jo-man says this is a school. So Jung-min tells him this is no different from a wrestling ring. The atmosphere is tense. And Jo-man says, "Is he gonna come?" So Jung-min tells him Jae-jun. And the fight that's happening is a strong fight. And there's a camera and a person watching what's happening. And the person says, "Looks like the winner of the match was able to sense the match. This is the main match. And will the transfer student Jae-jun come? I didn't know he was a fighter. I don't know who to bet on. Lee Tae-sung or Jae-jun. I'm interested in Jae-jun, but his opponent is Lee Tae-sung. I'll definitely bet on Lee Tae-sung, and Lee Tae-sung is a strong fighter." Suddenly a call comes to this person, and the caller says, "There's a student who doesn't talk." So this person knows the student is Jae-jun. So he tells the caller, "Let him in." And this person looks at him from the window and says, "This is a brave young man." And we go back to the gym and Jo-min manages to win. And Kim says this is almost the main match. And then he asks about Jae-jun. So Kim's men go to Jung-min and Jo-man and ask them where's Jae-jun. And Jae tells them if Jae-jun doesn't come, you guys are the ones who'll get beat by Lee Tae-sung. Then Jae-jun enters on them. And Jung-min and Jo-man can't believe that Jae-jun came, and they run to him and hug him. And then Kim comes to him and tells him, "You came on time. I was waiting for you, Jae-jun. If you win, the customers who bet on you will win. 10% of people bet on you, and I bet on you, Jae-jun. In my opinion, you're the strongest." And then Jae-jun stands in front of Lee Tae-sung, and Lee Tae-sung says turn on the music, and then Lee Tae-sung takes off his clothes and his body is strong, and the fight starts between them, and Lee Tae-sung hits with all his strength, but Ji-jun manages to dodge all of Lee Tae-sung's hits, and Ji-jun attacks him, and hits him, but Lee Tae-sung manages to block his hit, so Lee Tae-sung attacks Ji-jun and kicks him, but Ji-jun dodges his hit and attacks him, but he blocks Ji-jun's hit, and Lee Tae-sung thinks, and says I can say, from the few hits we exchanged, I see he's on a different level than everyone I've faced, and he managed to target the moment when my defense was down, and Ji-jun manages to hit Lee Tae-sung many hits, and Ji-jun attacks Lee Tae-sung and kicks him, and then hits him many hits, and Jungmin and Jo-man cheer, and Ji-jun is beating down on Lee Tae-sung, and the person who's sitting watching what's happening sees that Lee Tae-sung is getting hit, and the students are upset with Lee Tae-sung because they'll lose their money, and they turn up the music for Lee Tae-sung, and Lee Tae-sung gets pumped up and hits Ji-jun, and one of the students asks, "What's this song?" So another student tells them this is an Elecon song, so when Ji-jun hears the song name, he remembers when he was sitting with a girl telling him, if you appear for the first time you'll be a fan of the idol. So this girl says to Ji-jun, what do you think about Elecon? If I sign the contract with them, they'll make sure of my appearance first. I'll be able to do this. Then Ji-jun's friends come and call him, so Ji-jun gets up and tells her whatever you do and whatever your choice is, for me, it's the right answer. So the girl gets happy when she hears this, and tells him I'll always count on you. And we go back to the present time, and Lee Tae-sung attacks with all his strength on Ji-jun and manages to hit him, but Ji-jun blocks all of Lee Tae-jung's hits, but Jungmin and Jo-man get worried, and Lee Tae-jung thinks and says this person has nothing special about him. I was being lenient with him, and he hits Ji-jun with all his strength, and the students cheer Lee Tae-sung, and Ji-jun can't hit Lee Tae-sung anymore, and Jungmin and Jo-man don't know what to do, and Jo-man says why is the music so loud? It's distracting Ji-jun, so Jungmin tells him you mean it could be distracting Ji-jun, and they go to the person playing the music and tell him the music is too loud, turn it off, and Jungmin tells him Ji-jun can't focus, lower the volume, so the students laugh and say he's the one who can't hit, so Jo-man takes the music device and runs out, so the student calls after him and tells him wait, and Jo-man stops the music, and we go back in time and we see the girl who was sitting with Ji-jun, and her name is Shin Mira, and she tells Ji-jun, I don't want to be with you, we have to stop seeing each other, and she leaves him and walks away, but Ji-jun keeps calling her, but there are two guards taking him outside, and we go back to the present time, and we see Ji-jun hitting a strong hit, and Lee Tae-jung attacks him again, and hits him a strong hit in his body. Ji-jun remembers Shin Mira at that moment walking away, and Ji-jun falls on the ground, and Lee Tae-sung runs and wants to hit Ji-jun with all his strength, but Jo-man calls Ji-jun, so Ji-jun wakes up and finds the leg getting close to him, so Ji-jun dodges Lee Tae-sung's hit and goes back, and Ji-jun jumps up and hits Lee Tae-sung, a strong hit that drops him on the ground, and the students are shocked when they see Lee Tae-sung fall on the ground, and Lee Tae-sung doesn't know how this happened, so Kim tells them, that's it, and Ji-jun's friends get happy. And Lee Tae-sung gets up and says, I was gonna win, so Ji-jun hits him a strong kick in his face, so Lee Tae-sung tells him stop what you're doing, but Ji-jun attacks him and hits him another strong hit, and Ji-jun keeps kicking him in his body, so the students are shocked by what Ji-jun is doing and say he's gonna kill him, and Ji-jun is feeling extreme anger, so Jungmin calls Ji-jun, so Kim's men say Ji-jun is too pumped up, what he's doing could be dangerous, but Kim responds to them and tells them Ji-jun caught him, I don't know who to put him with, let's do more rounds. So Ji-jun's friends run to him and hold him to calm him down, and Jungmin tells him that's enough, so Ji-jun comes back to his senses, and the person who's watching is upset because Ji-jun won, and he says I have to bet on him, and whoever brings me money is who I'll stick with, this person could be on my side, and Ji-jun is standing with his friends, then Kim comes to him and tells him, congratulations, I knew you'd win, I want to see what you'll do in the next fight, I'll send you the fight fee, then Ji-jun leaves them and exits the place, so his friends run after him, and Jo-man tells him wait, I'll get you a meal since you won, so Jungmin tells him, yeah, if you hadn't come, we would have been beaten up, but Ji-jun pushes them and moves them away from him, so Jungmin and Jo-man are surprised by what Ji-jun did, and Ji-jun walks alone and notices while he's walking the Elecon band, and he sees the host asking Shin Mira and telling her what do you think of your fans, so Shin Mira tells him, I know they see our hard work, despite the shortcomings in some aspects, and Jungmin and Jo-man are standing looking at Ji-jun, and Jungmin says to Jo-man, what's he looking at, so Jo-man tells him isn't that the Elecon Elecon band. So Jungmin tells him so the Elecon song is what made Jijun act weird. Maybe he hates the band. So Jo-man tells him no, it's not possible he hates the band. So Jungmin tells him, are you an Elecon fan? So Jo-man tells him, yeah, I became an Elecon fan because of Shin Mira. So Young-min says that's what I expected, but I like the young member Rain. So Jo-man tells him you're an Elecon fan. So Jung-min tells him, yeah. Then Jijun goes to the beach, and Jung-min and Jo-man are watching. And Jung-min says he was going through a lot of pressure, and Jijun goes and sits alone. So Jo-man says to Jung-min, come on, let's go talk to him. So Jung-min tells him he looks sad that he knows two losers like us. So Jo-man tells him, are we gonna stay silent like this? So Jung-min tells him there's someone who could help him. So Jo-man tells him who. And we go to Aram who's sleeping, and suddenly her phone rings. And a message comes saying, can you come to the beach? I'm here. So Aram gets up and gets dressed and she's going out, but she makes sure her family is asleep. And she looks at her father and finds him sleeping. So she moves quietly. Suddenly her father wakes up and tells her, where are you going? So Aram is shocked when she sees this, but he's dreaming and sleeps again. So Aram goes out after that. We go to Jo-man and Jung-min asks, did you talk to Min? Jung-min tells him, I talked to Aram. Jo-man is surprised and says, what, you're talking to girls? Young-min tells him Aram doesn't know I'm the one talking to her. I gave Aram's phone to Gi-jun so she could talk to him, but in the end the phone ended up with me. I replied to Aram's messages pretending to be Gi-jun. I know I should give it back, but Jo-man tells him you love Aram. Jung-min cries and says I was infatuated with her, but now I know she loves Min. Jo-man hits him and tells him then give the phone back. Jung-min goes to Gi-jun and tells him here's the phone. Gi-jun is surprised when he sees the phone with him. Jung-min gets on his knees and apologizes, saying I'm sorry, I was talking in your place. I sent her a message for the last time, so don't do that to her. He leaves and walks away. Gi-jun takes the phone and opens it, finding a message that says, I'll arrive soon. He's surprised when he sees it. Then he looks up and sees Aram coming toward him. She reaches Gi-jun, and Jo-man and Jung-min are standing there watching everything that's happening. Jung-min is surprised when he finds that Aram actually came. Jo-man tells him they look good together. Jo-man tells Jung-min it's almost 12 o'clock. Jung-min says let's go home. Jo-man asks him, what do you think about coming to my house? I've got games ready. Let's leave Gi-jun alone for a bit. The two of them leave. Gi-jun is sitting with Aram. Aram writes to him saying, I was surprised when you sent me a message. Gi-jun doesn't know what to do. Aram is puzzled by his behavior. Gi-jun writes to her saying, you came to my mind. Aram tells him the sound of the waves is beautiful. Gi-jun says yeah. She asks him, you mean you come here? He tells her no. This is my first time coming to this place. When do you sleep? Aram tells him at 10 o'clock. I woke up to the sound of your message notification. Gi-jun is surprised when he hears that and tells her, I'll walk you home. Aram grabs his hand and tells him, no, I don't want to go home. After that, Gi-jun goes to get them something to drink. Aram takes the drink from him and thanks him. Gi-jun asks her, why don't you want to go? Aram tells him, I feel like home is a prison. I was surprised when I got your message today. You sent me a message before we slept before. I was surprised then, when you sent me and told me good night. Gi-jun is surprised when he hears that. He opens the phone to check and finds there's a message that says that to Aram. Gi-jun knows then that Jung-min is the reason. That day wasn't a good day for me, but that message made me strong. Aram cries and tells him, I wanted to ask you why you don't talk. When Gi-jun sees her message, he remembers when Shin Mira left him, and the security guards grabbed him to prevent him from entering. One of them tells him leave before we call the police, because this is stalking. But then Shin Mira comes back to him and hugs him and cries, telling him I trained myself on separation a lot, but after I saw you I couldn't do it. I can't let you go. I don't know what to do. Gi-jun hugs her and tells her I'll always be by your side. I don't want you to cry. But the president of Bongsan Company sees them. We go back to the present time and Gi-jun writes to Aram saying some people's words seep into your soul and stop everything. Aram tells him that's philosophical talk. I don't know what happened, but it can't be a simple reason, like my reason. Gi-jun asks her, and you? Aram tells him my father's dirty words affected me. The way my father talks, I discovered it exists inside me. That's a stupid thing, isn't it? Gi-jun asks her, don't you want to walk? Aram says yeah. While they're walking, Aram tells Gi-jun there are a lot of people because this is a busy street. Gi-jun tells her because it's Saturday night. We see a group of guys talking to a person, telling him what are you doing here in someone else's neighborhood. They tell him you're a student and you're drinking alcohol and acting like an adult. One of the people standing there says they don't check IDs. He tells them, I want to be mature. The person gets annoyed when he hears that and says, I can't sit quietly. One of them tells, Kang Do-il, where are your friends? Another one tells him it'll be easy for you to start a fight. Kang Do-il tells them I'm giving them a break, because it's comfortable for us too. One of them tells him, if you don't want to die, leave here, because I have the urge to kill you. He tells him why. Because you got beaten before? You're still upset. The person gets angry at him and flips the thing in front of him. Kang Do-il gets up and hits them with the table. Their leader falls to the ground. Gi-jun and Aram are walking toward the fight area. He stops to watch Kang Do-il fighting them. Kang Do-il hits the first one and runs from them, but they chase after him. While Kang Do-il is running, he sees Gi-jun and Arum in front of him. Kang Do-il greets Gi-jun. After that, Kang Do-il calls out to Gi-jun, runs up to him and tells him, I was coming to visit you myself, and hugs Gi-jun. But Gi-jun is surprised by what Kang Do-il is doing. Then the people who were fighting with Kang Do-il come. Kang Do-il tells them, you can't see if you look at him, we're friends. Gi-jun is surprised when he hears that, but those people get angry. Gi-jun stands in front of Aram to protect her. The first one attacks Kang Do-il, but he dodges his attack and hits him hard in the face. Another one attacks Gi-jun, but Gi-jun dodges his punch and hits him hard. One comes from behind Kang Do-il, wanting to hit him, but Kang Do-il kicks him in the stomach. The two of them start hitting them with all their strength. Aram thinks and says, I thought he was standing on a high wall, but I discovered he breaks through walls to reach another person. He looks cold, but he's not cold at all. Everyone gets into fights for themselves, but he gets in for others. Suddenly, someone comes from behind Aram, wanting to attack Gi-jun with the weapon he has. But Aram screams. Gi-jun looks at her. Kang Do-il calls out to Gi-jun. Gi-jun drops to the ground and dodges the young man's strike from behind. Kang Do-il runs and kicks him in the face. The person falls to the ground. Then, Kang Do-il tells him, how dare you do that? The person curses at him, but Kang Do-il kicks him in the face. And so Gi-jun and Kang Do-il manage to beat them. Kang Do-il tells Gi-jun, don't you see we're in sync with each other? We beat them. Gi-jun looks at Aram and finds her crying. Kang Do-il says, what, are you scared or something? Let's go. But Gi-jun attacks him and punches him hard in the face. Kang Do-il is surprised by what he did. Gi-jun hits him with a hard punch in the stomach. Kang Do-il falls to the ground and tells him, sorry I surprised you, but I was excited to see you. Gi-jun attacks again and kicks him. But Kang Do-il apologizes to Gi-jun. Gi-jun leaves him and doesn't hit him. Kang Do-il tells him, I don't want to fight with you. I know I was harsh with you, but that was a test, and you passed with flying colors. I want to be your friend. I want you to be with me. But Gi-jun pushes him away, takes Aram and leaves. But Kang Do-il walks after them and tells Gi-jun, you two became really close. I'm happy because I was the reason for that, and I have to return the favor. If you don't have a place to go, follow me, because from what I see, you're walking without knowing where you're going. There's a place we can go to. Gi-jun and Aram look at each other and agree to go with him. They arrive at the place and find many people sitting there. Kang Do-il goes to a person named Byung-ju and tells him you have clients, but he's sleeping. When he wakes up, Kang Do-il asks him, when did you come? And who are these with you? Kang Do-il tells him, these are my friends. Byung-ju says the type of your friends has changed. These with you look nice. Sit anywhere you want. While Byung-ju is typing on the keyboard, Gi-jun is focused on him. We then go to Aram's father, who wakes up and sees Aram's room door open. He goes to check on her but doesn't find her in the room. He gets upset and looks for her all over the house but doesn't find her. No, the place they're sitting in is a place for people who want to hang out together. Kang Do-il sits with Gi-jun and Aram. Kang Do-il tells Gi-jun, I'll give you permission to come here, and will that be enough to repay what you did? Kang Do-il leaves them and tells them, I'm going to sleep. Gi-jun writes to Aram asking her, are you scared? Aram tells him, no. I'm fine. Don't you want to read manga? Gi-jun agrees and they go get the manga they'll read. They sit together and read the manga. Then Gi-jun looks at her. Aram puts the manga on her face. Then Byung-ju comes to them and gives them a drink, telling them it's on him. He tells Gi-jun, it's my first time seeing friends of Kang Do-il like you, because he doesn't have real friends, just people who fight. The two of them are surprised when they hear that. I know this catches your attention, but I've gotten used to it. I'm sure it was hard at first, but Kang Do-il still hasn't accepted it. After I lost my fingers, I'm sorry I told you strange things. I want you to take care of Kang Do-il. It becomes 3:30 after midnight, and Aram falls asleep. Her phone rings. Gi-jun notices the phone ringing. Then Aram wakes up to the sound of the phone. When she looks at the phone, she finds there are 3 missed calls. She tells Gi-jun, this is my father. I have to go. Gi-jun tells her, I'll walk you. Then they leave the place, and Gi-jun walks her all the way to her house. Aram tells him these were hours of freedom. Thank you, Gi-jun. She leaves him and walks. When she reaches the house, her father opens the door for her, and he's angry. When Gi-jun sees him, he finds him yelling at his daughter. The father yells at his daughter, saying, do you know what time it is? Do you know how many times I called you? Her father curses at her and says, what do you look like? Aram looks at him, but he hits her hard on her face and tells her, how dare you look at me like that? What do you think I am? Gi-jun is shocked when he sees this in front of him. Her father grabs her by her clothes and tells her, how dare you go out without me knowing? Where were you? And what were you doing? Her father yells at her, but Gi-jun approaches them. Her father is surprised when he sees him, then he curses at him and says, so, you're the one who was with her. I won't let you leave. But Aram grabs her father. Her father asks her, what are you doing, and curses at her. Gi-jun is standing not knowing how to act. Her father tells her, you're with him now? Aram cries and speaks for the first time, telling Gi-jun leave. Gi-jun is shocked when he hears that. Her father hits her and tells her, let me go. Let me kill him. Aram tells Gi-jun leave. Please leave. Gi-jun is standing not knowing how to act. Gi-jun thinks and says, I ran away. I learned how to run away before. I ran from the past and couldn't solve it. I came here but couldn't face it.